All right, coming to you live from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. This is the Mets Corner. I'm your host, Steve Antaki. Thank you for being with us tonight. We're talking about a pretty upsetting loss today. The Mets kind of teased us towards the end. They lost 8-7 to the Mariners, and it was one of those games where they had a lead early. They lost the lead early. They came back, tied it, took the lead. They let the lead escape, and then in the last inning, you thought maybe there was a chance. Perhaps there was a chance that these Mets are able to pull out a win. And I was at the game today. It's myself, my girlfriend Maggie Rose, my brothers Andrew and Alex. We were there, having a great time. Decided to stay. We got there in the middle of the third inning because there's so much traffic at Citi Field. I've never seen more people in my life at a baseball game. It was Sidewalk Chalk Day, which is apparently the biggest draw there is. And everybody and their mother went out to the Met game today, quite literally. They said a paid attendance of 38,000. I would have bet my life it was 45,000. In any event, it took forever to get in. We got there. We finally saw the game. We decided, obviously, to stay till the end. The Mets get so close, and Marte strikes out with men on second and third and one out, intentionally walk Lindor, and, Pete strikes out on a check swing to end the game. It was a little disheartening. It almost would have been better, not better, but felt easier if they lost 8-5 and nothing happened than to, get left at the altar like that. But it happens. That's baseball. The Mets have so many comebacks. They're going to be coming back a lot this season, I think, with this team and the way they play, that it's going to happen that the comeback sometimes falls short. And I think the big story today, which I'm going to start with after that brief recap, is the Mets finally lose a series. It's the first series they've lost this year. They're 10-1-1 in their 12 series they've played. Look, if you told everybody on April 1st that the Mets were going to go 10-1-1 in their first 12 series, everybody would have signed up for it. And I would have bet that nobody would have thought it would have been the Mariners that they lose to first. But that's part of baseball. It's unpredictable. And that's how it broke for the Mets tonight. You hope that the hits that came alive towards the end of the game and throughout the game were a sign of things to come. Now, it obviously was a little discouraging that from innings 4 through 8, I don't think they had a base runner. So they're doing this, Jekyll and Hyde act where we don't know which Mets team we're going to see. We don't know, are they going to actually be hitting the ball with consistency every inning, having good at-bats every inning? Or are they more the team we saw innings 4 through 8 where nobody even comes close to getting on base? I like to think the latter. I think that the former. I think that they're going to be a team that does hit, and they were today. Carrasco didn't really have it. The bullpen gave up some runs. I think the only reliever or only pitcher to not give up any runs today was the guy Jonathan Holderman, who came in like the 8th inning. And he did fine. He did respectable. He's going to be asked to pitch a lot, I think, with Tyler McGill going down, which we'll get to later in the show. But all in all, the Bats woke up enough today. You score 7 runs, you expect to win a baseball game. It just wasn't enough for the Mets today. And you're happy with the fact that they never laid down and die. You're happy with the fact that they continue to be a team that plays hard. And every time you see a team play hard, you think they can win a game that they're down in. And that's all you can ask for. And this Mets team does that. So that's obviously the big story today. I guess a couple facts from today. Carrasco obviously didn't have it. I don't know. As I said, I got to the game midway through the 3rd inning because there was so much traffic at Citi Field. It was insane. I've never seen it. I'm not over it. I'm not over it. I'm going to be pissed off for a long time from that traffic, but you're not here to listen to that. Carrasco just was getting hit around the ballpark. I show up to the game, and my brother Andrew's there for 2 innings prior, and he's like, "Hey, dude, he's just not. There's nothing. He's getting hit." And you look at the scoreboard, and the Mariners have 7 hits in 3 innings, and you're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, he is getting hit." He was able to dance around trouble, and he was able to his credit, I suppose, keep the Mets in the game to a degree. It wasn't the typical Carrasco we've seen, but enough to keep him in the game. Bullpen comes in. Drew Smith has another off day. Chasing Shreve gives up a home run. and Joely Rodriguez gave up the 8th run of the game. And as I said, Holderman came in and pitched pretty well, but the pitching really wasn't there for the Mets today. It was a little, Friday we got the Mets with no offense. Sunday we got the Mets with no pitching, and it was just a situation that happens when you're not on the same page as the other side of your club. And the Mets, took the game last night. I didn't do a recap last night. Another thing I'll get into later in the show about some updated shows and when we'll be doing them and when we can expect to be dropping content. But I think you're obviously not satisfied with going 1-2 against the Mariners. You lose every game this series by 1 run, you lose the 2 games you lose by 1 run. You win the 1 game you win by 1 run. So it was tight. Could have gone either way. The Mets could have swept the series. They could have got swept. That's baseball. You take it. You didn't get swept, and you find a way tomorrow with Trevor Williams on the mound. I know it's not ideal, but you find a way to get a win, start the series right against the Cardinals. So, briefly, some housekeeping. What we're going to do is we're going to post updates as to when we're going to be going live during the week. So I can't go live 7 days a week. I just simply can't. And what we're going to do is post every either Monday morning or Sunday night the games we plan to go live for. And obviously, if we were going to go live for a game and the Mets are getting blown out, maybe we'll update it. And things can change, but the plan is to probably do about 5 a week. So with that being said, that update will be posted to the Mets Corner on Instagram and Twitter. Obviously, send in DMs, send in messages, send in voicemails. We'll listen to them all. We'll play them on the show. But that is something you should expect to see in the coming days. I guess another thing that happened today, the way the day actually started was Tyler McGill is on the 15-day IL, which I didn't know existed. I thought it was only the 10-day IL. I didn't know they still had the 15-day IL. Literally, I probably should know that, but McGill's on the 15-day IL with bicep tightness. I said it on the last live we did that I was concerned for McGill because something didn't look right. Him giving up 8 runs to a team like the Nationals that legitimately might not score 8 runs the rest of the season, that was a little worrisome to me. Unfortunately, he does seem to be hurt, but it doesn't seem to be too serious. I think the plan, ideally, he's back pitching for the Mets on June 1st. If that's possible, I don't know, but we'll see. Probably going to be a little later, probably going to be mid-June. But, hey, David Peterson, time to shine. Jacob deGrom, how about, can we get an update? Is he going to come back anytime soon? I don't know, probably not. So McGill goes down. That obviously sucks. Trevor Williams is going to be asked to pitch a lot of innings tomorrow because Carlos Carrasco couldn't get really any innings today. He somehow got through 4. It was a borderline miracle he got through 4. And we're going to forge ahead with David Peterson and Trevor Williams. So that was the way the Mets day started. Obviously didn't end well with that just absolutely worst way to lose other than blowing a lead. I mean, that is like the ultimate, just so close but didn't get it, loss. It felt like, dare I say, Game 7 against the Cardinals. Bases loaded, 3-2. They were down by 2 runs in that game. They were down by 1 run today. You got your best hitter up, and Pete just goes around and swings. And you can't get mad at Pete Alonso for swinging 3-2, not being able to hold the swing. He's trying to make a play happen. You don't get hits without swinging. And Pete came up short today. Pete's going to win a lot of games for the Mets for the next 15 years. And I'm all here for it. It just didn't. He's on my shirt. Like, I love the guy, but it didn't happen today. You liked what you saw in the 9th inning there. That was the Mets that we know, that we've seen, that we know they can be. Mazika, I got to give a shout out to Mazika. I didn't do a pod the other night, but Mazika came through huge. Even today, he came through huge. Somehow was safe at third. I thought he was out. He was safe. He's doing everything right. Credit to Mazika for showing up, playing out, playing hard. And today, it's a tough luck loss. The Mets were due for one. You come back tomorrow, you find a way, put on your big boy pants, come back tomorrow and get a win when you shouldn't. Beat Michaelis. beat the Cardinals, who are playing late tonight, and have Trevor Williams go out there and give you quality innings and find a way to win. That's the story for the Mets tonight. You're not going to win every series. No team in history has won every series. But go out there and find a way to win tomorrow's game. So I wanted to hop into a few questions here. First one is my brother actually messaged me and said, you can't give up 8 runs and expect to win, which is fair. And then he said, why not start Peterson tomorrow? So I think the issue with Peterson is he actually pitched on Friday and wouldn't be ready to go tomorrow, at least a full slate like the Mets need. Trevor Williams, I think ideally tomorrow goes 4 innings. I can't imagine him going much more. So the Mets are going to have a bullpen game tomorrow, which means that the following day, Taijuan Walker pitchers, they're going to need another big day from Walker. I don't know if that's going to happen. The Mets are finally facing some adversity this season, and the injuries were going to come. Now you got McCann, you got May, you got DeGrom, you got McGill. All these guys have now started to get hurt. Luckily, none seem to be, catastrophic and team altering, but you have to find a way to respond. Other teams have injuries. Other teams fight back and overcome. This Mets team has enough to do it, I think. Would be great to start seeing stuff from Dom Smith, who I'm pulling for, but I haven't seen yet. That would really, the back end of this, roster that hasn't performed that well, that's a great way to mask injuries, is for everybody, all 25, to play well. So that's certainly the first step towards fixing this problem. We'll see if they can do it, if they have enough to do it. So the next thing we got here is a voice message, and I'm gonna try to play it right now.
Steve, how are you feeling today? Sal from Massapequa, first time, long time caller. Just a quick question. With Mazika hitting that home run and the Mets pulling out the win yesterday, how do you feel about the McCann injury? Do you think that we're actually going to be able to sustain a good catcher back there when he's out? All right, I'll hang up now. Thank you.
All right, Salvatore from Massapequa. That is very much appreciate the call. So this is actually funny. It's part of the reason why I wanted to do this show and do this podcast was to have live reaction to show the games that, in my opinion, matter, which is the last game. But I didn't do a pod on the other night. And I wanted to give credit to Mazika because he won the game for them. And I wanted to answer Sal's question because it's a good question. Yes, I do think the Mets are going to be okay without James McCann and replace him with Patrick Mazika, largely because James McCann stinks. And a guy, I'm pulling for every Met. I don't want there to be anybody thinking out there that I'm not rooting for the Mets. I want them all to succeed. I don't want anybody on the Mets to stink. I don't want anybody to get replaced. I just call it like I see it. McCann has struggled immensely offensively. Immensely. And I'm going to always compare James McCann to JT Realmuto because the Mets could have signed JT Realmuto and they didn't. And they let him go back to the Phillies for not that much money. And this was not the Wilpon era. This is the Cohen era. This is the we don't care about money era. They decided to go cheap with their catcher, probably because they have Francisco Alvarez down the pipeline, but that's still a risk. It's still a gamble. The Yankees are doing that same gamble right now with Volpe. They didn't sign a shortstop because they think this kid's the next thing. Well, Francisco Alvarez better be the next thing. He better be that guy. And if he's not, the Mets are going to be looking like morons because they let the best catcher in baseball go back to a division rival that you play 19, 16 times a year. And they better hope it doesn't blow up in their face because it's going to be ugly if it does. And circling back to Sal's question, I really like Mazika. I think Mazika plays with a little spunk. He was having obviously some trouble with the signs the other night. He came back through that adversity, which, again, that adversity is kind of going to be the theme of the show. This Mets team has overcome adversity thus far. They're going to face a lot more of it. They didn't have the best pitcher in baseball. And they, they played through a few COVID instances and they've gotten hit by pitches and they've had so many different things happen. They've been down by 7 in the ninth inning, 6 in the ninth inning. They've overcome adversity. They're going to have to overcome more adversity. And Patrick Mazika in, 9 innings overcame adversity. He fits right in. So I really like what I see from Mazika. I like he's got chutzpah. He goes out there and he plays hard. And you could argue right now he's, just as serviceable as a backup as Nito. I mean, if Nito's going up there and hitting for no power and hitting barely above 200, I mean, Mazika can't do much worse, I would hope. So it's good to have competition. It brings the best out of everybody. Dom Smith thought he was getting cut the other day. What did he do? He go 4 for 4. It's like, if the guy can have that mindset for 9 innings, can he have that mindset most of the games, game in and game out? You would kind of hope. He hasn't, but you'd hope. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward. I have faith in Mazika, and at catcher, if they decide to go with Mazika and McCann when McCann gets back, it wouldn't shock me. I know it's been 2 games and it's a little early to overreact, but I know what Tomas Nido is, right? We all do. We all know what Tomas Nido is. He's a great clubhouse guy and he's a great defensive catcher, which there is value there. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm happy for Mazika. I'm happy he's getting his shot. And, he had a big base knock today. He was safe at third when I thought he was out. And the Mets were 90 feet away from tying this game and 180 feet from winning it. So he was right in the middle of it, too. That's the other thing. This guy isn't on the sidelines watching for, and just happens to pop in. He was right in the middle of it. So really happy for Mazika. Excited for tomorrow. I think that last inning got everybody excited for tomorrow. I think it's really what you were hoping to see from the Mets this series. They showed a little bit of it Saturday night. They showed a little bit of it Sunday afternoon. And got to hope it continues into St. Louis. St. Louis is going to be tough. They obviously have always given the Mets trouble. And they're a team that is probably going to be pushing around, 90, 92 wins. So it's a team the Mets we'd like to see beat. If the Mets are going to be a team that we think can win the World Series, they got to go up against the Cardinals team and show them that they can play with them. They have already, but do it again. Make a statement. Let everybody know that your team is there to compete, and they're gonna play you no matter who you are. So that's the big thing I got from today. I would say looking forward. So another thing I also wanted to talk on was I originally had planned to do, live shows and then a pod, which the pod would be a more refined version of what we're doing here with actual questions, sent earlier and then dives into the previous series and the future series. I think what we're going to end up doing is whenever a series ends, that'll be when the pod drops. It's going to recap that last game and the last series and also give a forecast of what we're going to be seeing next series. So you can expect 2 pods to drop a week, probably both twice as long as the live show, if I had to guess. And then the live shows are going to be probably 3 to 4 live shows a week with the pod, probably closer to 3. Because if we're doing the pod, that's 2, and then the 3 live shows will be after certain games that we pick and choose. Obviously, if Jacob deGrom's coming back a day, we'll pick that day. I'm not going to be sitting here, recapping Trevor Williams' 2-inning starts while Jacob deGrom starts and I don't talk about it. That's not what we're going to do. So that'll all be posted on the Mets Corner on Instagram and Twitter, and it'll be fun to see what happens this week. I'm excited to see what the Mets do against the Cardinals. Even though the first 2 games are kind of up against the wall. That's the best part about this series, I think, coming up, is that the Mets have Scherzer and Bassett going games 3 and 4. And games 1 and 2, they've got Trevor Williams and Taijuan Walker. So if you can find a way to win one of those 2, and I really think they would behoove the Mets to win that first one, get that game. The Cardinals are going to be exhausted tomorrow. Get that game, beat Michaelis. They're probably their best pitcher. And hand the ball up to Walker on Tuesday with Bassett and Scherzer in the wings. That's a real recipe for success. I'm excited to see this Mets team go up and hit like they did today. Like I think they can. Like I think we all think they can. And I think also I'm looking for a nice bounce back from this bullpen that has seemed to sputter of late. The Mets blew a 4-1 lead last night, Saturday, and they were able to come back. The starters blew a 4-1 lead today, and they weren't able to come back. So they didn't blow a 4-1 lead today, excuse me. They blew a 5-4 lead, and then they weren't able to keep it close. But I'm hoping to see something more from this bullpen as we progress and as the season progresses. So it'll be a fun series. You know, whenever the Cardinals come to town, you always got to think of 2006, right? And I really don't want to talk about this. This is not what the show's about. It's sacrilegious to talk about this. But I mean, the first thing that comes into my mind is Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina. And I know that's, if you're a Mets fan, that's over the age of, I guess, what, 10? No, sorry. If you're a Mets fan over the age of, let's call it 20, you felt the pain that night. You knew what that was. That's the worst Mets loss I've ever experienced. And whenever the Cardinals come to town, I want to rub it in their face. I want to show them that we're the team to beat. And I hope that the Mets take all four. So, yeah, I mean, that's where my head's at. I hope they find a way. And there's no reason they shouldn't. So that's all I got tonight. I appreciate everybody that called in. Everybody that sent a voicemail, sent a message, and was able to tune in and listen to us and recap this game together. And hopefully tomorrow we're doing something a little happier. You know, we're talking about a nice little Mets win. I think that'd be great. I think they can, and I expect them to. So with that being said, everybody be well, enjoy the game, and let's go Mets.